You are watching Xirtus.
Chemicals, the chemicals that they spray on
That's a
strawberries,
different story. Yeah.
it's so freaking dangerous and cancer causing. I want to show the picture of the chemical strawberry chemical spray, because usually what it looks like is as a child, sprayers, anything, it reminded me of this. There we go. It reminded me of ET. You go to the other side of town, right? And all of a sudden there are these guys that are dressed in hazmat suits, like they can, with gas masks, so that they don't breathe the stuff that they're spraying. And then there's water runoff, and everyone always says, oh, well, people that are drinking the water in Watsonville, they're drinking the strawberry chemical runoff, and it's either making them crazy or it's giving them cancer, and they're having increased miscarriages or whatever the story is, right?
Yeah, but so there's these strawberries, right? Isn't that
of course kind of blows your mind a little bit, I think.
I mean, you're supposed to rinse them, but I mean, does that really do the job?
But don't you think everyone wants it to be this way? Because everyone keeps engaging, and like, you know, economics is a study of human motivation, and you can tell what people are motivated by the choices they make. So everybody makes a choice to engage in the system as it is and to increase their investment into it. So it seems like everyone likes to complain about it, but nobody really wants to rock the boat.
I mean, we're making big changes. People are making the world a better place. We're switching, as we said, to lab-grown meat. So, I mean, again, everything is getting better because there's new solutions that are emerging, right?
Yeah, eat that cancer meat, man. It's not going to cause you any problems.
It'll grow forever. It's right, forever and ever.
But I don't want lab-grown meat, but I eat meat. I eat mostly meat, but I honestly don't think I should. I've been thinking about it a lot recently.
Nah, you should. You should.
Well, I mean, how do you know? Because like, if you're getting cloned beef, which I mean, Alex Jones has shown most of the beef in America is cloned. In the world, it's starting to sound like, is that?
And the reason
are you eating beef? You know,
I only eat cows I kill myself. I go to I make sure to murder it myself.
And he only kills them by strangulation.
Right. You burn off the calories that you then take in. Even exchange.
There are all these rules that they make that seem so. For instance, vaporization laws in Australia, which are leading, so they made it harder and harder for vape shops to exist. And now Indonesian and Chinese black market vapes are appearing all over Australia because they can't control, of course, you know, the society. And you also think about the smoking. We talked earlier, Doug and I, about the cigarette culture and why it is the way it is in France and America. It was a point in the 70s when they started trying to persuade French to smoke less. And I think I have the map here.
And the French said, absolutely not, fuck you, we are French.
Well, so what blowed, this is not the correct years, but you can kind of, there's another example. Basically what they found was that it was working, and then they were afraid that the lifetime expectancy was going to be too high for them to support the French quality of social health care.
Oh shit, we can't have this many old people around. Smoke again.
Literally. And so during Sarkozy, they started pushing smoking in France again. And it was in order to drive down the population age, and also introducing other, you know, vices that had been discouraged in the British sectors, right?
Do you think it's possible that smoking isn't as bad as they say it is?
Yes. I'm sure that if you soak a pack of cigarettes in the chemicals that Marlboro's soaked in, and you have these weird fiberglass bits in your in your filter, and the weird dyes, plus they have pieces of things to help the cigarette
sugar
burn,
at the tip, all sorts of crazy stuff that they put in the
factory made fire retardant in the paper so it can't like flare up.
Yeah, because I think it's like there's so many people that get lung cancer that never smoked. Right. So it's like,
well, I don't think it's necessarily lung cancer you're going to get, but you could get, for sure, the carbon burning can create teratogens or carcinogens, and teratogens don't just affect you, they affect your reproductive system. So there are, of course, mutations that emerge, but you also have CRISPR and Cas9, Cas11, Cas12 built in, right? Your DNA is designed to look for emerging mutations and to stop them from reproducing. So we have a fighting chance, right?
Yeah, but
when you're just using the plant, it's quite different from the factory stuff. I'm sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, how long in human history did we sit around campfires?
Yes.
And like,
hang out. One of the leading causes of death in Europe in the 19th century was fireplaces. Children would not be able to, their lungs wouldn't be able to handle just the fumes coming from the fireplace, even with the chimney.
So I'm not saying you wouldn't be healthy or not smoking, but I think they do what they always do, which they kind of exaggerate shit to make it as bad as possible, in my opinion. That's a theory.
I think cigarettes are as bad as possible. Like they've made it as bad as possible. I agree with what Douglas was saying. If you buy just like natural tobacco,
loose leaf,
it actually smells kind of good. Or pipe tobacco is like a pleasant smell. Then you smell a cigarette and you get like a warning alert from your system. It's like warning, like fatal toxins being inhaled. You know, if somebody's smoking a cigarette in front of me on the street, which in New York where I grew up was constantly, I walked in the street. I never walked on the sidewalk, and I would practically be running everywhere I went just to pass all the smokers because I refused to walk downwind from a smoker.
Yeah, I mean, like, and which doctors can you trust on the issues of what's healthy? Because, you know, and clearly all of those dead doctors who were holistic doctors did not, I don't know what the Snopes said. It's false is all. Somehow it's false. So you just know that it, you know, we're not in trouble here. Right. But yeah, all these dead doctors
here's a good question about
healthy.
Don't smoke, kids. Don't smoke.
Right. That's right.
I have a good question about lab grown meat though, right? Like we see that life is like a process of consumption and life and death and stuff like that, but we don't know if it has to be, if that's the only way it can function. And since we do have philosophical thought and ideals and stuff like that, it would be ideal if like lions didn't even have to eat zebras and they could just play all day and lay down and have fun, kind of like domesticated animals do in your house. They can all get along because they're fed. You know, is it even possible to achieve a situation like that? Is that desirable? Should we be trying to augment the way nature works and life works?
I think or
traditional ways just always the best because they're traditional.
The next level isn't going to be eating vegetables. It's going to be not eating at all. It's the Jetsons. You know, they're going to move to a point where
Breatharians.
Breatharians, right? Oh man, I closed all my Breatharian tabs earlier. Are you kidding me? That's been on my mind a lot. That came up for Base AF. So the Anidia, right? So there was a group in Santa Cruz which were all into breatharianism, and then the person in charge of it got caught at a McDonald's eating a Big Mac, and they said, they weren't really doing it for the substance of the food, it was for the flavor, you know, because they didn't really need to eat. But there's a lot of people that have claimed to become breatharians, and of course throughout history this is the kind of macho guru thing. You'd say, oh yeah, I sat in a cave, I didn't eat, and I was fine, you know. That's but is it reasonable? This idea kind of takes you away from the toroidal nature of reality, that we're living in this sort of as above so below, but there's something that's coming from above and coming in, and something that's coming out, right? You're not just this outside of nature thing, you're part of nature. There's something that comes into you, there's parts of it that come out of you. You have to go to the bathroom, or at least excrete in some way.
In some way. And what comes out of you is not technically waste. It can be turned into soil, very rich, healthy soil in a couple of years.
Right, but all of these processes only keep the machinery of the material realm moving, and we consider our consciousness to be something separate from the physical realm. Almost like we're in a prison where you're forced to sin, you know, because we have these ideological souls that want these perfect platonic states, but then we're in these bodies that are constantly having to consume and poop, and all these animals are eating each other, and there's like no way around it. It's almost like a prison where you're forced to not progress in the way you want to, you know, philosophically or ideologically.
Well, there are plenty of people in India that refuse just about everything they can and live very, very simple lifestyles.
Yeah, so I call them losers.
I don't know. So
there are losers out there that do pursue certain. Yeah, I mean they're out there.
Okay. What's the value in eating? What's the value of eating so many parasites that you've got a lot of parasites flowing through your body? I don't know if that's really the greatest thing. A lot of people who eat a lot, they're not just feeding one. You know, they're not. It's not setting a tail.
They're not just eating for one anymore. That's right.
Right.
And you're gonna find people's hours change. They get up at weird hours, they go to sleep at weird hours, so that parts of their brain are being run by these parasites, and that's not good either. I think we should also be aware that you don't need to eat all that much food, and there's probably something wrong if you feel like you do. I mean, something that should be like looked into at least.